Yes, we are live. Hey, assalamu alaikum, guys.
Alaikum
I-
assalam.
I'm excited to have Mr. Bash, attorney, real estate attorney. He's been on the business over 2 decades, and he's gonna be talking about a little bit of the real estate transaction, and then introduce us of what we call trust. I'm not gonna take a lot of time to introduce you. I just wanna hear from you, Mr. Bash.
Yeah,
So,
no problem.
take it.
Thank you so much, Asiato, for having me on. Yeah, I've been practicing 21 years. I have two areas of practice: real estate and trusts and estates. Closed over 7,000, 7,500 deals. So a lot of experience, and obviously a lot of clients who are really looking to focus on how do they get their property to their children. So yeah, if you just want to talk about the general
Okay.
real estate transaction, or if you want to go straight into post closing and the estate planning.
Yeah, let's start with the trust because that's the reason why we're here. Then we're gonna talk about a little bit of the process of
Okay. No,
the real estate closing stuff.
no problem.
So I just want you to give me a simple definition of trust, like what is the trust, and
Mhm.
just a simple
Not
term.
a problem. So the trust basically is a written instrument similar to a will that allows you to convey property to your beneficiaries, right? So in a way that the property is transferred to the United States is basically by either intestate, which means that you die without a will or a trust.
Okay.
Second, or a will. Third, trust. So what happens is the first two, intestate and will, you have to go to court. So even though you, right? So even if you have a will, which is the cheapest way to do this, it really costs you more in the long run because you have to do this thing called probate. You have to go to the surrogate's court. They will probate the will to confirm that the will is a valid will, and then they give you this thing called letters of testamentary. So this trust was created to bypass this court system.
The court system. Okay.
It's meant to bypass.
So who actually need a trust? Is it only the wealthy people or everyone?
I believe is truly for the average Joe, right? The average person who's got one house and he needs to get it to his wife and kids. So basically, there are four benefits of this trust. All right. First, I just mentioned is to avoid the court. Right. That could take 6 to 9 months for the. Let's say mom and dad pass away. They give it to their children. The children do not have legal right or they don't have title to that property. Anywhere between 6 to 9 months for Queens, Staten Island, and Manhattan, and Nassau and Suffolk. If you have a property in Brooklyn and Bronx, it will take you about 2 to 2.5 years.
Mhm.
Yes, 2 to 2.5 years in those two areas. There's actually
Wow.
a district attorney is actually investigating them because they don't know why it's taking so long. So what happens now? The property stays there for 2 years, right, without collecting rent, without doing anything, right? And it's just sitting there and possibly going to foreclosure because mortgages are not being paid, nothing's
Right.
happening, right? So that's one big thing, right? It's time, savings of time. Second,
Okay.
cost. When the parents create the trust, the children do not have to pay anything, basically. They just need to go to an attorney. The attorney will then, any attorney, trust and estates attorney, they'll just amend what's called an affidavit of trust, which is a summary of the trust, and they're the owners, right? I mean, even without the affidavit of trust, they're the owners. So it's really a simultaneous, a continuous transition of ownership, a
Okay.
seamless transition,
Without going to court or
without
anything
having to
like
go to
that, or
court,
any payments.
which is amazing, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
right. So that's two. Okay. So and as without cost, right? Because it could cost you $7,000 to $8,000 minimum to go to court. Plus, you have filing fees and all that, and then the stress and aggravation that
Yeah.
goes with going to court, right? All the time. If you have a sibling that's out of spite wants to challenge it, guess what? You're tied up for years, right? Even though he knows he's not supposed to have a share in it. Third, you get this thing called stepped up basis, right? What does that mean?
Can you repeat again?
Yep, stepped up basis, right? So it's going to
Okay.
be STEPPED hyphen up UP basis BASIS, right? Stepped up basis, right? What does that mean? So what happens is when you buy like say my dad bought a property, let's say 30 years ago for 200,000. Now it's worth 1.7, one of his properties, right? So now
Yeah.
he's got $1.5 million with a gain.
Yes.
I
That's true.
will, right? So I will, when he gives me his property, I will either have to pay capital gains tax starting at 200,000 or at 1.7.
So you got to pay on 1.5.
Yeah. So that's like
Okay.
$300,000 in capital gains tax times
That's
20%.
25 to 30%, right?
Uh,
For
it'll be 20% capital gains tax, right?
Okay.
If you're in the highest bracket, right? So now you're looking at $300,000 I would have lost just because my dad did not put into a trust. Luckily, I convinced him. So whenever he passes, I get the fair market value. If it goes to 2 million, not a problem. 2.2, whatever it is, I get the fair market value of that property. That's my base.
Without paying any
Without paying
tax.
anything.
Wow. That's
Right?
amazing.
That's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Huge. I mean, you're talking about like a massive, massive amount of money to
Yeah.
save, right? And how
Yeah.
many people? There are many, many people, in the Bengali community. I know many other communities. I think the people from Guinea are kind of new right now to the real estate, but
Yeah, they know. And even me, I'm very lost on this because I heard you talking about this to one client. I'm like, this is very interesting. People should know about this thing because this is very interesting. Nobody's gonna educate them about this,
you
you know?
know, most white Americans have trusts.
Yeah.
Because let's face it. I mean, they sit around on a Sunday, let's say, right, and they have like the New York Times, they have the Washington Post. Their conversations are a bit different than our conversations, right?
Yes.
So they're talking about finance, they're talking about investing, they're constantly talking about money, constantly, right? So we don't do that, right? So it's only through these type of webinars that like you're doing right now that people will be educated and spread the message. So I had a sister come to a Bengali sister that came to me yesterday, and she said she heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend. That's why that community prospers, because they're talking about it. She didn't know what it was.
Yeah, that's the exact reason I invited you so you can clarify a little bit. I just want to ask you also, what's the biggest misconception people have about trust?
Oh, I apologize. I'm talking so much. There's fourth, another benefit. And then bring that question, okay, before I forget. The fourth benefit, which is really important. When the parents give it to the children, we can put it into a lockbox. It's called like an asset protection trust. So when the child gets a property, and God forbid the child gets a divorce, they don't lose the property.
Oh,
that's amazing. So
yeah,
you do a will.
That's a gem, like
right. So if you do a will, you do you die intestate, which is no planning whatsoever. All you're doing, you're hurting your kids. That's all you're doing, right? Wow. So there's you have to plan, right? You have to use.
Basically you live in there with a battle that they don't even know. They have to, if somebody never been to the court, how to hire a lawyer. How I'm gonna if they don't have even the money to hire that lawyer, they're gonna lose that property.
It's a problem.
Because most people like if you are in
possible.
your 20s, 30s, if you don't have like 10,000 saving or 5,000 to hire somebody to fight for you, so how are you gonna do it?
And I'll give you something else. So obviously I have a heart, right? When my clients come to me, I see them as family, right? You've been with me now like probably close to 10 years, right? So there are other attorneys, like one older woman came to me, she's about 70, 75. Her friend brought her to me. I said, can you look at this trust? And we realized that the attorney put himself as a trustee of her trust. Okay. So I called him. He's a very prominent trust and estates attorney. I said, such and such. I said, listen, you know who this is? He says, yes. I said, okay, listen, I read this trust. You put yourself as trustee. He says, oh, she knew what she was signing. She knew this, she knew that. And he sent me all the paperwork. 2 days later, he took his name off. So all I'm telling you is that, you be very careful.
So really some attorney can do that? Like, and then you gotta, so people need to be careful and get a trusted attorney so these people don't transfer this thing to themselves.
Yeah.
Instead
and
of
he was charging a commission to the children. So the property that they were supposed to get for zero, he's charging 5%.
Wow.
Yeah. So these are things that happen. Obviously, you have all types of people out there: honest people, dishonest people. Same thing with attorneys. Same thing with all types of people. Real estate agents. It's not. It's very.
Afar, I cannot hear you anymore. You froze. Hello. So guys, I'm just gonna. I think he's freezing right now. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna call him through the cell phone. Give me 1 second. So guys, while we're waiting for Afar, this topic is very interesting. You need to protect your asset. You need to protect your kids. Life is short. You never know what's gonna happen. You can be young and still never know what's gonna happen soon. It's very important to you to learn about this trusting. So Afar is just back. He's gonna continue talking. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, we are back.
All right. So you had a question. When I was going through the 4 benefits, I finished that. What was
Yeah,
your?
yeah. Well, obviously you talk about what's the difference between trust and the will. Can you please a little bit clarify and put them side to side a little bit for people on that understand
Those
that?
are well, basically, the will give you a stepped up basis, right? You'll get that as well with the will, but you don't get the other three protections, right? Which is the
Okay.
savings in money,
Mhm.
the time efficiency because you have to go to court, and then third, you don't get the asset protection. So the children will, if they get divorced, will lose the property. So yeah, that's the three biggest differences between the
And
trust.
and then the gain, the capital gain on the property, correct?
Yeah, yeah. The will also give you that.
Okay.
They also give you a stepped up basis, but you
Mhm.
don't get it with if you die intestate, or which is a lot of people make this mistake. They put their children on the deed. When you do that, the children do not get stepped up basis. So it's as if they bought the property at the same price that you bought it at. Horrible
Oh,
decision. Horrible decision.
wow. That's interesting.
Because a
A lot
lot of
of
people
people like to
from
put
our
their
culture,
kids.
yeah,
uh,
but yeah, a lot of people from our culture, they love to put their kids on, thinking they're doing the right thing. They're
Right.
killing their kids because number one, they lose a stepped up basis. Number two, now the property is part of the marital estate, so now it's subject to divorce,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
And right, so now you got major problems, right? You got major problems.
And then the other question, when should the homeowner start thinking about this trusting?
I would say, I know it's always tough after you buy a house. We usually typically ask the client to come back in about 3 or 4 months after we purchase, right? Um,
Okay.
yeah, because I know they're renovating and all that good stuff, but you just
Mhm.
never know when you're going to pass away, right? So I
Yeah.
think one sister came in about 40s, and she told her husband he's like 46, and he's like, "Come on, his name was on the deed," and she's asking him, "Please put me on the deed." And he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Tomorrow, I'll get to it. He dies.
Wow. Yeah. I
So
was just
she,
saying that before you come back. I'm
yeah,
like, life, you'd never know. The next minute, the next second is not promised to you.
no, no,
There's no promise about it, you
no.
know?
So,
Yeah. So,
so she has to go to court,
mhm.
spend money she doesn't have because she's a widow. Second, on top of that, she has cancer.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's in a bad situation, right? So this is
Mhm.
just poor planning, from a lot of the spouses. It's not
Yeah.
tomorrow. It's hey,
Sometimes it's just lack of education. A lot of people lack of this
well, we procrastinate.
information
I mean, it's
system.
human
Yeah.
nature is to procrastinate, right? So I
Yeah.
procrastinate. I was doing trust and wills for. I was doing trust for everybody, I didn't do mine. So last year I went to Hajj. So just before I went to Hajj with my wife, I said, you know what? Let's do our trust. And I finally finished it, right? I just put my head to it. And I said, I'm going to get it done. And we did, right? So
Okay.
I would tell you, just go out and do it. Don't think too much.
Okay, I just want to know because the concept of trust, I don't have a lot of knowledge on it. I just want to know how long it's going to take the process to put the whole thing together.
Yeah, so it's basically about 1 hour to do the intake.
Mm-hmm.
It takes me about 2 weeks to put it together, and then another hour for execution. Because when we do our trust, we do 4 other ancillary documents, right? The first one is we do a thing called a power of attorney. We do the healthcare proxy, which includes a do not resuscitate. Third, we do a designation of remains. And there's a fourth one. I don't know why I'm forgetting. Healthcare proxy, power of attorney, designated remains. It'll come to me. 4 documents that we do for the clients. That's included in the trust that we do.
Okay, nice. Okay, I just want to know also if you can change the trustee later on, or you can revoke the thing.
Good. All right. So that's a good question. So there's 2 types of trust. There's a revocable trust and an asset protection trust, right? Irrevocable trust. Under the irrevocable umbrella can fall a number of different purposes that the irrevocable trust can do, right? So one is it could be an asset protection trust. It can be a Medicaid trust. All right. So let's say you have somebody who's very sickly and they're going to apply for Medicaid. Even though you may have 3 or 4 properties, you can still get aid by putting these houses into a trust. Okay. We can do a S&T trust. That's a supplemental needs trust. So if you have an autistic child, disabled child, this is another way of putting the property into this a type of trust where they can still get their SSI benefits, right? So that's under the irrevocable trust. The revocable trust is a simple trust.
Okay.
So basically, and the way we do our trust is different than 99% of the attorneys. We do what's called a grantor trust. So that means the grantor, which is the owner of the property, we still allow that person to be the trustee of their own trust.
Interesting. How?
Yeah. So they don't. Well, the IRS code allows you to do it, and the law now there is. It's kind of weird. I mean, when you first started real estate, I'm sure, you heard some things and then you went with it, right? Like whatever somebody told you, like your mentors, right?
Yeah, you just trust it.
Just trust it.
Go, yeah.
Okay. With attorneys, same thing. They heard this one. Tom, Dick, Harry says this. Oh, you know what? You shouldn't do this. And they hear this thing, right? So 99% attorney. Now, I can't help it that we do our trust the way we do it. I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the world, but I learned from some really, really smart Jewish attorneys. And
how does that benefit the owner?
Okay, because now they didn't lose control of their property, right? So now, let's say in a revocable trust, you can sell the property. You can change the beneficiary. You can, and these are same things that you can do with an irrevocable. The difference is that you can't, in an asset irrevocable trust or irrevocable trust, is that you just can't take the property back into your name, right? Sometimes you can get the income. So let's say you have, you don't know, but let's say you have later on after you put the property into a trust, you get a massive lawsuit. And then creditors want to come after you. So if you don't have the principal, they can't touch a property.
Right.
If you have, let's say you have rental, let's say you have income coming in, right? If you have access to the income, they can get that income. If you don't have access to it, they don't get the income. So basically you're judgment proof. Like somebody would sue me, I'm judgment proof. Because I've got my properties into an asset irrevocable trust, right? Okay. So that's a way to protect my wife and kids, right? I don't own it. The trust owns it. Yeah, but you're the trustee. Yes, I'm the trustee, but I can't touch. And this is the law. I can't help it. This is the law, right?
Right.
This is the law, right? So the law says that even though you're a grantor, you're the owner, and you're the trustee, which you have control, you can manage the assets. As long as you have language that says that you're not going to take the principal back in your name and you're not going to take the income, that's good enough for the law. They said, listen,
Okay.
it says he even though he's the owner, he's not touching it. He's given up. He's given the
Okay.
property. But you can still change. You can still make changes. You can change
Okay.
the beneficiary. You can change the allocation, right? You can cut a son out or cut a child out, right? So you can do a number of things.
Okay, got it. Okay. And then also I have that question written here. Are there any tax benefits or tax consequences of homeowner that should know about if they put like the house in trust?
In a trust.
Mm.
So, okay, so a lot of attorneys make the mistake when they put, and they do, and it's very technical. The language I'm going to use is completed gift. So it's a non-grantor trust. Then the trust gets taxed at a very high rate very early. So
Okay.
when you, in our grantor trust, you don't get a separate EIN number. You continue to use your social security number, and you just file this. Your accountant will know it. You'll file a 1040, and that's it.
It's the
No,
same one. Okay.
similar to an LLC. Just
Got it.
like a pass-through taxation, same thing, just like an LLC. If you do it the other way, which is 99% of the attorneys, they make you get your EIN number, and then if your income exceeds 12,000, you're getting taxed at 37%, the highest tax rate. Okay. Whereas on the way we do it, you'd have to get you have to make over $560,000 to get that same tax rate.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask this one too. Is setting a trust expensive? Because sometimes people want to know.
Yep,
Like,
all depends on the income, right? So, so if a person has just one house, we have one rate for a guy who just has one house, giving it to their children in an asset protection trust. That's one price. But let's say the guy's got 4 or 5 properties. Obviously, he's going to pay a little bit more, right? If you're going to get to this threshold, New York State has this thing called a cliff. So let's say you own more than $7 million worth of real estate.
Oh, real estate.
Okay, or any kind of assets. Total estate. Your total estate is more than $7 million. Because some people have $1 million, $2 million life insurance policy. They have some stocks plus real estate, right? So once it gets close to that $7 million, New York State says, listen, up to $7 million, zero. You don't owe us anything. But as soon as you cross that cliff, that $7 million, you owe like I think 16%, 19%, which is $900,000. A lot of money.
Wow. Right? Yeah.
And that money's due
so
from the estate.
7 million is the like the number you need to remember.
Exactly. So as long as you're not close to that, you're good, right? But it serves a lot of other purposes. You know, the trust is, you know, it has those 4, but one good thing, especially in our culture, right, is that let's say you have one spouse who may be a little bit older, typically the male, right? The husband, right? And then his wife is a little bit younger. So typically, and he has a lot of kids. Let's say he has some kids. So we can do this thing called like a marital trust, which will put a little restriction on the trust after he passes away. So that she's still the owner, but she can't dispose of the assets. So let's say she were to try to get married and the next spouse says, hey, let's sell it and give it to somebody else. No. This trust is set up that I don't have the right to do that. So the kids are going to get the property. So a lot of great little, right?
That's protect the kids as well.
A lot of nice protection there for the kids.
Right.
So this trust can be set up for those. Again, it's a little bit more complicated. It's not a simple trust.
Yeah.
Right? But it's a little more, adds another layer of planning, of writing and stuff like that, complication.
So guys, if you're looking to put your house in a trust, you have a Farbash number on the screen. Please screenshot it, call him. He's the right person to do that for you. Okay, he's gonna answer all your questions. This is just general information. Everybody has their own cases. He's gonna look into your need and what you want, and then from there he's gonna advise you as a lawyer, as a professional, what you should do and what's best for your family.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Asaf. I appreciate you.
Okay. So I just want to ask you this question, and then we're going to wrap it up. We're almost at 30 minutes. We have 6 minutes here. So can you still sell, refinance, or live in that house in
the trust? Yeah, really good question. So so it's funny. I think you had a guest over there previously, Vivid Mortgage. So Vivid actually, so very few lenders can actually issue financing with a trust. Vivid actually is one of those companies.
Wow.
So so I represent that lender. So I happen to know their product, and they were able to issue a loan to a trust. Not many lenders can do that. So if that's the case, we take the property out of the trust. It's a cost, obviously, deed transfer, put it back into the name of the owner, do the mortgage, right? Do the lending, put it back into the trust. So
Okay. So this, if in cases that's the lender not gonna do it, you're just gonna remove the name from the trust and put it back. Okay. It's like you pulling it and put it back.
yeah.
Got it. All right. Nice. Okay. So I don't know. Do you have anything to add here? Because there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of information. You just don't. Do you have anything to add here? And then
I
later
mean, it's a
on, if
lot of
people
stuff.
have
I mean,
more.
the idea is, trying to create a generational transfer of wealth. Why is it that we always look to and listen, we have to tip our hat to the white Americans, right? We have to tip our hat to a lot of the Jewish community. They plan, right? They don't just get a house and then they forget about it. No, how are we going to benefit our children, right? This trust is
You
not.
don't plan, you plan to fail. If you
Yeah,
don't plan, you plan to fail.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
who fails? You're dead, right? So it's up to your children. So you're
Yeah.
really, we all work for our kids. Well, if you say that and you truly believe that, then you have to do a trust.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So you heard Mr. Afar. Thank you for so much for your time tonight to explain this information. Very nice information. We would like to see you again on these live streams. And if you need to reach out to Mr. Afar, can you tell your number? Because the live stream is a little bit, I think it has your number covered a little bit.
Oh, no, that's horrible. So
Is
718
it?
848-8515. 718-848-8515. Oh,
And also you can go to or Google the office of Afarbash. They have nice reviews, excellent guy. He's on top
I mean,
notch.
one of the things that I forgot to mention is that we have more 5-star Google reviews than any real estate attorney in the state of New York. So we love what we do.
Nice. Thank you so much, Afar. So bye for now, and
Yes, Heather.
thank you.